If you made a plan to stay in town, board up your home or whatever, right now it's not smart to leave.
You're
because there is a lot of traffic. Yeah, if you made a plan, you have to stick to it. There are no right now. It's just not smart to evacuate.
No, not at all. In fact, the city, county evacuations were concluded about noon today, I believe. So you know, wherever you are, that's where you're probably going to have to stay.
Yeah, stick with your plan. You know, don't let this come in and it is going to be frightening. I can tell you that from experience. I was here from Hurricane Brett, and Brett wasn't a vicious storm like this. It has intentions on doing here to South Texas. But when we got to the shelter, I remember in Hurricane Brett, we were like, oh, this really isn't so bad. You know, maybe we should leave. Don't second guess yourself. If you're staying and you have the plan in place, you know, stick to it and stay there and do your best to ride it out.
And let's talk about the storm surge.
Yeah, that's a great graphic.
That a lot of people have questions about, depending on where they live. Of course, that's alarming when you look at that graphic there. But if you could explain to us a little bit more about the storm surge and what we can expect with Harvey.
We are expecting with Harvey anywhere between 6 to 12 feet above sea level. So, you know, we're talking, basically what's occurring is you have Harvey off in the Gulf of Mexico, and it's making those waves, I mean,
churning
just really, that's a good word right there. It's just churning it. And the closer and closer that Harvey gets to the coastline, that mountain or those huge waves are just really going to be crashing on shore. And that's exactly what storm surge is. It's the sea level rising above where it's normally at, you know. So again, another great graphic here. We have the difference between a Cat 1, Cat 2, and a Cat 3. And, you know, Cat 1, we're looking at dangerous winds, extreme winds right there. That's the Cat 2, 96 to 110 miles an hour. And as that moves ashore, that gets the water and it basically just moves it right on top of the land. That's exactly what the storm surge is.
And Category 3, that's considered a major hurricane from that point on, and that's the situation that we will probably be in.
That's the forecast for now. It hasn't occurred just yet, but it's still.
We're getting there.
We're getting there. You know, it's still in very, very warm water. It's very conducive for further development. You know, when we talk about tropical systems, we look at the upper levels of the atmosphere and we look for wind shear, and usually the tops of those winds shear off the top of that hurricane, and it actually starts to tear the top of the hurricane apart. But that's not happening right now, not at all. In fact. And this is what you see right here. And this is a very, very well organized hurricane that we have just off the coastline again. And this is a Category 2 at this point. So we're going to go ahead and close in a little bit closer and look at the looping radar. Look at that. I mean, the eye is certainly visible. This is just another indication that this is a very serious situation here in South Texas. This is a well-formed hurricane. And you can see right there that counterclockwise spin with the heavy rainfall already occurring along the coastline up to the north of us around the Victoria Crossroads, stretching on down into Kennedy County and into portions of the Rio Grande Valley as well. And the rainfall that we're getting now is already causing ponding on the streets, and we're just on the outer edge of this. We still have all this activity out, and there's still some more behind it. We're going to have to deal with it, and then once it moves into the inland areas, this is not going to move a whole lot. As you saw there, it's probably still going to be hurricane strength even 48 hours from now, so that's not good news for us here. Zooming in a little bit closer, up around Pettis, George West, Three Rivers going up and near Campbellton as well, Mathis, Sinton, we're talking about Sandia, Orange Grove, Robstown. You're on the very edge of this right now, and this is going to continue to push in your general direction. Even our friends up into Goliad, Refugio, Seadrift, Rockport, Aransas Pass, this is just going to be consistent over the next several hours for us here. Don't expect the rainfall to stop anytime soon. And again, as the eye of Harvey gets a little closer, you can anticipate those winds to continue to get heavier, and you can expect the rainfall to get heavier as well too. So as I mentioned, Alice down into Bishop, Kingsville, Rivera, you're seeing some moderate rainfall, maybe some light drizzle at this point, but expect that to get a little heavier as Harvey gets closer to the coastline. You inland areas around Duval County, up around Freer, Benavides, Concepcion, you folks are not seeing a whole lot just yet. You're definitely seeing the cloud coverage, could see a few sprinkles at this point, but as far as the very strong winds that we're anticipating here near the coast, that again, we've already gotten some reports anywhere between over 50 miles an hour out at the Naval Air Station. So this is already delivering some powerful wind in the region. Rockport, look at that. You've already received over an inch of rain. In fact, 1.27 inches. We're nearly at an inch of rain officially here in Corpus Christi and over a quarter of an inch out in Kingsville, and just expect these numbers to keep on shooting up over the next couple of hours. In fact, over the next several days as well. Here are the winds, as we talked about earlier, that major hurricane force winds are right around the center of circulation. They're not extending out a whole lot. They're going about 25 to 30 miles. It's the tropical storm force winds that we're more concerned about. That's going nearly about 100 miles from the center of circulation. And we're talking about winds sustained anywhere between 39 up to 73 miles an hour. So anywhere you see that yellow, that's the cone of where we're going to see those winds at tropical storm force. And of course, those tropical storm force winds are 39 miles an hour to 73 miles an hour. So we'll have to watch that very, very closely as it moves inland. And here's what I was talking about earlier. The Naval Air Station already has that wind gust at 56 miles an hour, 55 miles an hour out at Port Aransas. And here's the latest. Again, the winds are sustained at 110 miles an hour. The gusts are going at 130. It's just 85 miles to the east-southeast of Corpus Christi at this point. Now, going a little bit further, I showed you this earlier. This still has it as a Category 3 just north of Corpus Christi, not by much at this point. But this goes near 120 miles per hour, and that's later on this evening. That's about 7 o'clock. We expect it to already be strengthening to a Category 3 storm, and then as we move this further on up, going into Saturday and on into Sunday, finally on Sunday, it looks to lose a little strength, and we're talking about tropical storm force winds, but it's still in the vicinity of the coastal bend. We're still talking about lots of wind. We're still talking about lots of rainfall as well, and the tropical models just continue to keep this in our area. So the hurricane warning remains to be in place. And we're looking at storm surge warning all along the coastline. And again, we're looking at anywhere between 6 up to 12 feet of storm surge associated with this. So we're going to keep monitoring this. The entire Chris 6 weather team is here. In fact, the entire Chris 6 and KZTV crew members are all here. For now, I'm going to go ahead and pitch this back to our chief meteorologist, Del Nelson, Lee, and Stephanie.